Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are watching from. Welcome, everybody. We have a lot of fun stuff to talk about today. Mostly talking about Mexico today. I don't know why, just happens to have the most news topics for the week. So it is what it is. Unfortunately, Angelo is not going to be joining us today because he is currently in transportation to his next accommodation. So Angelo was at Secrets Bahia Mita for the last week, and he is actually heading today to Secrets Vallarta Bay. So we'll see how that goes for him. I did give him some insider tips on which room category to book. Secrets Vallarta Bay is a very lovely hotel, but there are some rooms that are towards the sort of main lobby area, and those are closest to what at least used to be an empty lot. I haven't been to Puerto Vallarta since last October, so I'm not 100% sure where construction is at on that lot at the moment, but a lot of the tour buses used to park there, and so of course you would hear them backing in the very early morning hours. Beep, beep, beep. Roosters, cock-a-doodle-doo, and wild dogs. Arr, 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 arr. So these are just things that you want to be in consideration of if you are going to Secrets Vallarta Bay. If you're staying closer to the front of the resort, like closer to the beachfront, then you would find that it would be more quiet. Am I keeping secrets from you? No, that's why I'm talking about it. No, we already discussed this. In fact, I think that was the conversation a few months ago where you were trying to decide where to stay. And a few of us had definitely had some thoughts on that. So this is a message Lo posted earlier that he's actually taking an Uber from Secrets Bahia Mita to Vallarta Bay. And I was really surprised at that because Uber is normally in just the high density areas. So and Bahia Mita does have a few different hotels, and there's Palladium, that kind of thing. But that's interesting if you can also get an Uber from there, because that would obviously cut the costs down quite a bit. Hello, John. Good evening, John. Very wet Yorkshire. Oh dear, that's not good. We have got a ton of buckets of rain coming out our way in the next few hours, really. So, it is what it is. But yeah, 'tis the season, unfortunately. Now, Linda, which that's Bojangles, who you guys know, is a regular contributor to the show, and she asked for the headings to come back, or the topic list. So we have brought that back this week. And yeah, it does help me from rambling on and on and on. Why do I keep doing this? I'm like totally backwards. I think when it changed my camera around somehow, and now it's got me all kerfuffled. But anyways, it is what it is. What was I going to say? Yeah, it's gone. Anyways, let's go ahead and jump right in. So yeah, the Tulum taxis are going to be regulated. So I don't know how often you go to Mayan Riviera or down to Tulum, but they've had some struggles in the last few months with tourism and stuff like that. And obviously Cancun is really trying to get prepped for the World Cup next year. They've said, Cancun was created to be a tourist destination. It used to be some coconut farms, and the government basically went in, they bought up the land, and they said, we're going to put a bunch of hotels here and make it a tourist destination. So, consequently, they want Cancun to kind of be the hub for people coming into Mexico and then going to watch any of the World Cup games next summer. So, yeah, we'll see how that goes. But what they have done is also with the taxi rates, the government has said by the end of this month, every licensed taxi will have, they're basically going to put QR codes in the taxis, which will have the specific rates by region. So it's no longer going to be, you don't have to worry about getting discriminated against because you clearly look like a tourist, or that the taxi driver is going to change the rates on you, or that your hotel lobby says the rates from your Tulum hotel to Cancun Airport are, $100, and then the taxi driver says it's 150. So they're going to be regulated. They're going to be listed by region. So there's going to be some regulation to it, which I think transparency is always a good thing, especially when it comes to tourist stuff. Hey, Linda. Yeah, we brought him back for you. And helps me stay a little bit more organized as well. So that's not a bad thing. So like I said, those online you also will be able to see the prices online. I don't know exactly where they're going to be, but they will be posting those. So you'll be able to see the regional taxi rates. And if you are thinking about going to Tulum, for example, and you want to check what the taxi rates, your transportation options are going to be, then you will definitely be able to do so ahead of time. So that's always good to know. I'm just moving my screens around. All right. And then on to, so this is a good one. So currently in Quintana Roo, so basically the state of in Mexico, where you have Cancun, Puerto Morelos, Playa del Carmen, Tulum, that whole area. Currently, there are no specific rules or regulations for Airbnbs or rental accommodations. So if you are staying in them, the safety information isn't necessarily up there. So this is all going to be changing again. Everything's getting ready for the World Cup, so it's all good. And what's happening is they're going to update the tourism laws, which will now include short-term rentals. And so the hosts of the rental accommodation, they will have to register. So there'll be an official note of who's running what. And there will also be clearer safety requirements. So you recall there was that terrible, terrible story of a family. They were in Playa del Carmen, where they had rented a house, and nobody heard from them for a little while, and then they were all found dead. And the assumption is that it was carbon monoxide poisoning. And a lot of these units will use, gas stoves, that kind of thing. And if there is a gas leak, if you don't have a carbon monoxide tester in your home or in your rental accommodation, there's nothing to alert you, because it can overwhelm you quite quickly. And so now, instead of having to travel with a portable one that you plug into the wall, I'm thinking things like that will be standard required safety features for the rentals. So again, I say nothing but positive things about that. So yeah, all good news. Next topic is an interesting one. So was it last week? I think it was before Wednesday. I'm not 100% sure if we brought it up or if we were just chatting with Angelo most of the time. But there was a news article that in a court ruling that a judge had said that Ubers would be allowed to pick up from airports. Specifically, they were talking about Cancun International Airport. And so basically the assumption was that this would be the rule, or it would be allowed going forward. This week, officials came out and said, no, that's not what, no, hold on, stop. No, the Ubers cannot legally operate from any Mexico in Mexico, any airport in Mexico. So, there's been a couple of times when stories have come out, and I think there's been assumptions made about where a story was going, and then it turned out to be completely different. But anyways, for now, because initially they were saying you could use Uber Reserve. So that's basically if you go into the Uber app, and instead of just clicking on ride, you click on reserve. And that means to say you're booking it in advance. So you can do it for tomorrow. You could do it for, I think it's a maximum of 30 or 60 days in advance. The pricing was higher, but in the end, it still worked out to be less expensive than if you were to do a shuttle, even a shared shuttle. So definitely an option to consider. But as I say, for now, the Ubers are not allowed to pick up. So that's not an option for you. But I thought for fun, we would do a comparison. So I took a look at here, these rates. So we have, for example, a shared shuttle. So this is where you're going to get out of the airport. You're going to go through the time sharks, and once you're through them and you're outside, then you're with all the regular shuttle drivers. So then you go to where your shuttle pickup is, and then you will wait for the rest of your group. So if you're in an 18-person Sprinter van, you might be waiting for 4 other families or 3 other families, depending on how many people are booked into the shuttle at that time. So I've done the comparison, both Canadian and US dollars. So if you're in Canada, you can just go down that line to see the comparison of prices. But, and this was based on, for 2 adults going from Cancun Airport to Secrets Mirabel. Obviously, I'm taking a look at that because I'll be heading there in hopefully a few weeks' time. We'll talk more about that later on. But so basically to the Cancun hotel zone, looking at $90 Canadian or $64 American for a shared shuttle. Again, where you're waiting for other people. Once you get on board the shuttle, then it's going to go and drive, and then it's going to pull into the first hotel where somebody is booked, drop them off, and then come back out, and then drive, and then pull into the next hotel and drop those people off, and then drive, and then eventually get you to your own hotel. If you're the first hotel on the route, great. If you're the last one, it can really drag out your time. And I know sometimes, like even with Sunwing, I used to always, especially for my wedding groups, I would just book them on a private shuttle because it was more efficient, less frustrating. And whereas if they were with Sunwing and they were flying and they were doing the group shuttle and there were several stops along the way, it was for heading to like Port Aventuras or like near Playa del Carmen, it was sometimes taking them 3 hours to get to the hotel, which is a little bit ridiculous. So anyways, so shared shuttle seems like an affordable option, but not even close to being efficient. Private shuttle. For the shared shuttle, I looked at Amstar because they're a reliable tour operator, and they offer shared shuttles. For private shuttles, I looked at Canada Transfers. I have been using them for the better part of 20 years. I use them for all of my personal travel, and they are available in the Cancun region and in Cabo. And I also have booked them for many, 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 many clients because it's just been, effective. They're reliable, they're safe, the vehicles are in good condition. Drivers, fluency in English, but they know where they're going, they know where they're taking you, so that's not a problem. And I've never had them be late, or I'm sitting around waiting, wondering when they're going to come and pick me up. So I think those are the key elements that you want. And pro tip, you can pre-order beverages for the ride. So if you're going to Dreams Aventuras, which is a good 80 minutes down the road from Cancun, depending on how busy the traffic is, you could pre-order a couple of $2 cervezas, for $2 Dos Equis, or Corona, if that's your thing, for $2 a can. You really can't go wrong. Or you can just have water. They have bottled water as well, but it's all very inexpensive and very convenient. Okay, so then I looked at if you did a shared Uber, so doing a shuttle on the way to your hotel and then booking an Uber to get home, to get back to the airport. And this is where it gets interesting. So look at how much those prices drop. So even for the shared shuttle, and I'm just going to focus on the Canadian side because you guessed it, I'm Canadian, but you've got the example there in American if you want. But so just doing the shared shuttle and the Uber drops down your vacation cost by $30. So, I mean, that's pretty amazing. If you were to go with a private shuttle on the way to your hotel and then do the Uber on the way back, it's still more affordable than any of the other shuttle options, even compared to doing the shared shuttle both ways. So really interesting to compare that. I also took a look at, like I said, Canada Transfers is the one that I use. What's interesting is they show the currency options you can choose to pay in US or Canadian. But here's the thing, and this is where, whether you're Canadian or American, you want to take a look at this and play the game, because they're converting it for you. So they're saying you can book it in American, it's $54, which should be $76 Canadian. But if you flip over to the Canadian version, they're saying they'll charge you $65, which if you're paying that and you're American, you put it on your credit card, that's going to come through at roughly $46 American. So play the conversion game, right? I mean, if it's like by comparison there, US, you're saving, $10, Canadian, you're saving $11, but these are all little things that add up. So, when it comes to comparing your costs and just save a little bit here and there, and it all adds up. And then if you want to do a sunset helicopter ride, all of a sudden that's not quite as scary of a cost venture because you've already saved all this extra money along the way. Or it just means you can go on another vacation, and giddy up on that. But I thought that was pretty interesting and compelling to see the price differences. So yeah. Okay, Coba. Many, many years ago, like I want to say probably 2008, maybe 2009, probably closer to 2008, was the first and only time that I went to Coba. And there was a group of us, we were all traveling together. We climbed to the top of it. I may or may not have ingested more than a regular amount of tequila the day before. So his legs were a little bit wibbly wobbly. And then going up those steep and unregulated stairs, like one step is 14 inches to the next level, and then the next one's 6, and the next one's 8, and then So that was tricky. And the steps are worn, very, very worn, because it's almost like limestone. But the whole idea is you go to the top and you can see over the treetops and the view is supposed to be amazing. And I'm like, well, you kind of, when in Rome, right? You've got to do it. So off we go. We all climb to the top. One of the tour operators, the guys who goes along the trip, he'd walked up with a bunch of people, and I guess his folks had all gone down. And I mean, he probably goes every day or like 5 times a week and does this hike up to the top of Coba. I mean, he was fit. Um, and we're on this top platform and I'm looking down. And you know what it's like when you look down, it's like standing on your roof or standing like on the top of a hill and you look down and you're like not only how did I get up here, but how the hell am I gonna get down? And I was not a word of a lie. I was having a little bit of a panic attack and I was thinking like, am I ever getting down? I don't know if this has happened to you or you've ever had a vacation experience like that. But I know we've talked about things like this before. And like I said, I'm sure alcohol was a factor. I'm sure the fact that I was wobbly on my legs was a factor. And then anyways, this young fit guy, he goes jumping over the side and I thought that was like the edge of the thing. So I thought, oh my God, like he's just jumped off the cliff kind of thing. And then you see him running along. So he knew what he was doing. It was fine. It was safe. But it was a bit like, And so, then I did the 87-year-old granny thing and I went down holding onto the rope, sliding, step by step, inching my butt down step by step. It was fine. I mean, it took forever, but I did it in the end. So anyways, fast forward to 2020. And so adding another, 12, 14 years of people climbing up and down those steps. And they said, some days there would be as many as like 400 odd people going up and down the steps every day. So you can imagine the wear and tear on them, and, sort of causing them to be sloping, and slippery and stuff like that. So they basically decided that they needed to close the main ruin, and it's called Mahuj. Why do I have this in the tiniest font that you could ever even possibly imagine? Let's make that rather a lot larger. Nahuchmul. I'm sure I'm drastically abusing that name and the pronunciation, but I was not aware that they had closed the pyramid and that tourists were no longer allowed to climb it. And this wasn't like, last year. This happened in 2020. So I clearly not on my radar of things to keep on top of. But anyways, they closed the pyramid, so there was no foot traffic on it. And then over the last year, they said, look, we're going to build something, and I can show you what it looked like. Okay, so that's it. And from that particular camera angle, it does actually look a fair bit daunting. It's not quite as, I don't remember it being quite as steep as that, but I mean, nonetheless. So they decided to come in, and the heritage company came in and basically said they were going to revitalize it and what was the word? Restore it so that they could allow tourists there once again. And they announced that this was going to be sort of spring or like peak season 2026, that they were going to reopen it. And so, like I said, this is what it looked like. Now, I'm curious what you guys think. Thumbs up if you like the look of this new version, or thumbs down if you don't. This is what they've created. So they basically added, and it's interesting that as you can see at the very bottom of the stairs, there's a sign that says no walking. So I think this is a picture that was placed there as they were finishing the restoration. But it is now, and has been for a couple of weeks at least, reopened to the public for climbing. So you can now continue to climb to the top and see those amazing views. But let me know what you think of that. Like, is that a, yeah, that's looks good, or is it like, no? In fairness, that photo, and that is coming to us from, what's their name? The Riviera Maya Insider, is that right? Riviera Maya Insider newsletter. I've put a link in the description below if you want to subscribe to their newsletter. It's actually quite informative, comes out about once a week, and they have a lot of quite interesting information, especially if you're going and you find out that you're going to Dreams Puerto Aventuras and you happen to find out that there's a 10K run that weekend, and maybe that's your thing. You want to participate. There's a lot of insider tips like that, as well as obviously telling you things like this about Coba opening up. So I think this picture was done right after it was completed. And that wood is going to fade. Christine, if you're watching, it's probably going to fade faster than the decks at Hyatt Vivid. So they're probably going to need to repaint it on a pretty regular basis. But nonetheless, it has now reopened for climbing. So quite a few comments here. Angela was saying something. Yeah. Currently at the check-in. Okay, great. Working on getting an upgrade. Oh, please. Working on getting an upgrade. By the time he's finished typing that, they were probably already handing him keys to the presidential penthouse. Angelo is such a good negotiator, I tell you. Tammy said, good luck. Okay. He's going to report back. 𝖳તુԼyi𝖾, yeah, 𝖳તુΛIL was great. We went to, it's disrespectful, I know, but we could never remember what it was called, the 𝖳તુΛIL ruins. So we used to always jokingly call it El Kabong, because it was just like, what's it called? Like I said, disrespectful, but it was meant in a kind but joking way, if that makes sense. Anyways, okay, so you guys like the look of it. Okay. I'm assuming that's what that's what those are in regards to. I just think it's great to be able to climb it. Now, there was some complaints about the stairs, and others were saying what they should have done is created an alternate structure so that you could see the ruins as opposed to climbing them and further degrading them, because now you've got these wood stairs which have very precise contact points on that limestone, which is going to create more of a pressure point than people actually walking flat on their feet. I don't know. I'm not an expert on that, so I don't know, but it's we shall see. And also, I think sort of like if you look at the I don't know what it's called in Petra, seeing the caves at Petra in Jordan, on the other side of the earth. Do you want to go into that room and see out of it, or do you want to stand there and look at it? Then again, having the view from out there is quite something. So anyways, I was surprised. Like I said, I don't know what I've been doing, but I was not aware that Coba had closed, and all that happened, and now it's reopened. Which brings me to a side point, folks. Especially if you are somebody, or somebody who says, I'm not paying visit tax because nobody's checking it. I think even with the topics that we've covered today, it's fair to say they are using that money. They said they were going to use that money to help with the tourism infrastructure. So what's our topics today? We've got Tulum taxi regulations being implemented. We've got Airbnbs being regulated and having safety requirements added. We've got Cancun Airport changes with respect to Uber. And although they say right now that Ubers are not allowed, that is the intent. Again, they want Cancun to be the hub for World Cup for next year, people coming into the country. So again, they're going to make it easy. So Uber is ultimately going to eventually get there. Talking about, the enhancements at Coba, doing the Tren Maya, adding that bridge so that all the thousands of workers who work in the hotel zone in Cancun, who live in the main town area, the central area of Cancun, instead of them clogging the singular arteries that go into the hotel zone, they're creating a separate bridge, which will also have a bicycle path and all that kind of stuff for the employees to be able to get to work and not clog those tourist arteries. So what more do they need to do? And I know they're working on other stuff. So it's like, they're working on so many different projects, which we're already seeing. Tulum Airport, I mean, they said that was going to open. When did it open? It's like I want to say 2 years ago. And it opened in, I want to say December of 2024. I could be wrong. If anyone recalls correctly, type it below, please. But they had said they were hoping for it to open by March of now I'm thinking it must have been 2020. March of 2024 is when they wanted it to open, but it actually opened in December of 2023. Could have been last year. I don't know. But it opened like 4 months early. This Coba, the stairs, again, 4 months early. So, they're doing a lot of stuff and it is making a difference. So personally, I'm impressed. And I think that any money that it's minimal money. Like what's Visitex? Like $30 per person? I mean, really, in the greater scheme of things, that's peanuts. So, Bojangles, what she's saying, second biggest pet peeve for me is those people who say they won't pay Visitex. First being those who say they are U.S. Oh, first being those who say they're using U.S. dollars over pesos. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, what is it? What's I don't remember this off the top of my head, but I think said something like 20%, only 20% of Mexicans have a passport, and you need a passport in order to use a cambio, like a exchange kiosk. And you could go to a bank to exchange the money, but like 40% of Mexicans don't have a bank account. So how's that going to work for them? And like I said, you say, well, US is, such a strong world currency. Okay, but the British pound has greater value than the US dollar. So would you expect to tip in pounds? Or British sterling? I mean, I'm just saying, like, I think everybody always says, like, what do they prefer? Local currency. Like, it's a no-brainer. It's just easier for them to use. And certainly, like, living and having lived for the last 30 years so close to the border. I mean, the border is literally like 10 minutes drive away from my house. So, yeah, every time we see Americans on the highway, it's like, hey, welcome, come spend your money, great. But if you're a store owner or a shop owner and they're trying to pay an American, that becomes a tricky thing, because then you're trying to figure out exchange rates on the fly. Used to be that a lot of businesses would just have static rates, and they would just say, if you're paying an American, we're taking it at par. And that's a pretty big blow these days, when you consider that the US dollar is, like, I don't even know, probably $1.40 or something. I haven't looked in the last little bit. But anyways, I digress. But yeah, Linda, I'm with you. But yeah, I think if there was ever a case for whether or not they have justified the expense of visa tax and whether or not people should be paying it, I think the answer is wholeheartedly yes, pay it. It's worth it. They've justified it and they're doing really, really good things with it. So that's my soapbox for the day. Oh, this is a fun one. So I know you guys love it when resorts change their names. Tammy, I'm curious if you've heard this already. So as of today, we have a new hotel in the Puerto Morelos region, and it's called Dreams Puerto Morelos. You may know this as Hyatt Ziva Riviera Maya, which was formerly Hyatt Ziva Riviera Cancun. So, and I mean, yeah, I might do a video about it, just talking about the fact that it's got a new name, but there's nothing different about the hotel that I've not heard of any changes. So yeah, we would have to take a lot of coins to tip in pounds. Yeah, that's a way. Yeah, true enough. All the coins. Yeah, so yeah, Hyatt Ziva Riviera Cancun or Riviera Maya, whatever you want to call it. Hyatt Ziva is now Dreams Puerto Morelos as of today. Surprise. I don't know why. I mean, I guess there's been a lot of changes with Hyatt Ziva and Zilara resorts. They were managed by Playa Resorts. And then things have shifted with the Hyatt All-Inclusive Collection. So maybe it's a continuity thing. I don't know. All the Now resorts became Dreams resorts. Some of the Hilton Playa del Carmen is now, what is it? A Vivid. Like, it's just confusing. And I think, am I wrong? Like, as a consumer, as a tourist or a traveler, do you find it frustrating when they keep changing the names? I know as a travel agent, it's frustrating and annoying because you're trying to figure out what you're talking about. As a person who's not involved in the travel industry, if you were to look at reviews of a resort, I mean, no wonder people are writing reviews about the wrong hotels because they can't remember what the name of I mean, a lot of people don't remember the name of the place that they were just at, but yeah. Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's too much. It's too much. So, yeah, anyways, I just thought I'd share that with you, but yeah, Dreams Puerto Morelos. Well, there you go. But at least now you guys have the inside scoop. You know, if somebody says, "Oh, there's a new hotel I'm going to stay at," you can be like, "Oh yeah, that's the Hyatt Ziva. I got this covered." A couple other things I wanted to talk about. I have a question for you all, but first off, I wanted to say Secrets of Mirabel, officially, unofficially, should be opening on Saturday, November the 15th. So, we'll see. But it sounds like everyone is fairly confident that this is actually going to be pulled off. They have been relocating people up until this point. And quite frankly, guys, they're relocating people to like Secrets Playa Blanca, Secrets Moshe, Secrets Maroma. Like these are all 4 to 5 digit week-long stay places. Like their prices of like, and rightly so, because these are flagship properties. I think Secrets Mirabel is going to be really, really nice, and I'm excited to see it. But for whatever the reason for the delays, and I still don't know, they have not been able to open on time. But they've had a lot of events there. So, like, they had an event with conservatively, I'd say at least 100 agents, and that was was that at the beginning of November? Yeah, it was the beginning of November, and if not, that might have even been in October. And then they've had other things. There was a video I just saw this morning of all the employees. They were allowed to bring their family to come and see the property, and they hung out for the day, and they got to have lunch, and it's a sort of meet and greet kind of thing. And the whole idea is that they wanted to show that, the Secrets Resorts, Dreams Resorts, they really do treat their employees well and have respect for their extended family, and want to look after them as well as much as they can. And I've always heard from the employees, like a lot of them, you'll see them, they pop around between brands. But it's always interesting that people seem to gravitate, or at least in the past they did, towards like Secrets and Dreams Resorts from other properties. And a lot of times the employees have said it's because of their opportunities to move on to bigger and better jobs, which of course means bigger and better money, and maybe more job security, maybe more interesting job, more better hours, a good variety of changes. But yeah. When am I booked for? So now I am booked for Mirabel from December 5th to the 11th. So that will be, we'll see. We'll see, right? But I've seen in some of the Facebook groups that there's people who are booked for the 16th or 17th, and they have not been relocated. Now, that doesn't really solidify anything, because there's been people for earlier dates that were contacted sort of late in the game to get relocated. And some people were sort of in transit before they knew where they would be going once they landed. So it's a lot of people that they've had to relocate. So it's been tricky. But yeah, December 5th is when I'm supposed to be arriving. So my plan, just so you guys all know, my plan is to stay at where I'm booked. I'm booked for the Rio Kukulkan. And then December 1st, the Rio Ventura is supposed to open. Again, that's not a palace caliber Rio. It's just a lead-in. But it's already, the price point's like really good. That's family friendly. It's still all inclusive. And you still have access to the Rio Caribe, which is where the Rio parties are. And the Rio Ventura is actually right beside the Hyatt Vivid Beach Club. So it's right on Playa Delfin, which is sort of at towards the southern end of the Hotel 7. Which way? This way. No, this way. So it's sort of down here, and Caribe is up over on the top end up here. But they do have a free shuttle that will take you as guests of Rio Ventura to the Rio parties. So that's kind of cool. Or you can hop on the bus for 80 cents or something. And Angelo says he's booked Mirabel for the first week of May. Oh, nice. Jeremy, do you remember Jeremy and Wendy from Hyatt Vivid? They were loosely talking about going around then. So wouldn't that be fun if they happen to be there at the same time as you guys, as you? So my plan is to go there. I'm not going to be staying at the Ventura, but I'll be going there and hoping to film it and put together a video for you guys on what that looks like. And of course, I'll do the Kukulkan as well, Rio Kukulkan, Rio Palace Kukulkan. Well, Wendy and Ted and Jeremy and Mike, they were really nice people. So it'd be cool if you could run into them. Reunion. Yeah. Hopefully the rates come down, because the prices for Mirabel are kind of up there after the opening rates are done, but it is what it is, right? So that's what's happening with that. And then after that, I'm going to Secrets Mirabel. So yeah, then I'll be filming just anything and everything. But I've already been in touch with the hotel, and so I'll see what I can see, but I'm going to try to get in and do as many room categories as I can. I know there's been some renderings, and the renderings usually look pretty much exactly like the actual deal. But Christine, if you're watching, want to check out the toilet situation. Is there a door? Is it just a frosty door? Is it a partially frosty door? Just give me a door. Give me an old-fashioned wooden door. That's just me personally. Angelo's saying got upgraded to a King Jr. Suite preferred, but the room's not ready yet. Oh, well, giddy up. You gotta like that. Hey, Howard, how are you? My daughter was just at Breathless. Oh, yeah. Looked pretty nice. Yeah, I only was there one night. Tammy was there a couple of nights, but she wasn't feeling well when she was there. She was getting the flu or something. But I just loved how gadgety that property is. And the pool was different and nice as well. And they also had the rooftop pool, which was quite nice. But yeah, that's my plan for that. So yeah, I'll be just, the usual buffets. Everybody wants to see the buffet. But I have to find out, like, they're just going to be opened. Even if they open on the 15th, that's only 2 weeks prior to me getting there. So are they going to have, breakfast, lunch? And I don't think they have it planned to be open for buffet for dinner. So breakfast and lunch anyways. I'll have to double check that. And yeah, and then like, what else? What else can I see? But, whatever. And I'll do a review, of course. Yeah, and hopefully you guys watched my video from this last weekend. This was my first sponsored video, so that was kind of fun to do. Oh yeah, Louise, are you here? I don't know. I did a comment in the description a couple of times to ask Louise if she was going to be joining us. She might still be there. Who knows? Having too much fun. Didn't want to come back. Buenos dias, buenas tardes, buenas noches. So pop quiz for you guys. What time? So obviously, I think it's noon exactly is when you switch from buenos dias to buenas tardes. At what hour, at what time do you think is the correct time to stop saying buenas tardes and to start saying buenas noches? So you're going from good morning, good afternoon, good evening, essentially, effectively. So what is the cutoff time to start saying buenas noches? Personally, before I read the answer, I assumed 6 p.m. And I'll tell you right now, it's not 6 p.m. So let me know what you think. Put it in the comments below. I'm curious. Just a quick number is all you have to put in there. But I will tell you guys. Actually, I'll tell you. Yeah. Yeah, exactly what I thought, Linda. Yeah. 6 p.m. I mean, that makes sense, right? Got a couple more answers. Angelo says 6 p.m. Yeah, also what I assumed. Also not right. Who's that? Oh, now Angela's saying 5 p.m. Nope. Howard says, going to our old standby Ocean Maya Royale for 10 days on the 25th. Is that this month? November 25th? That'll be nice. Yeah, then you're just like couple of weeks away, a little bit. Yeah, no, about the same as me. Yeah, 2 weeks away. Going, and John's going away as well. Going away on holiday back in 2 weeks or so. Looking forward to a bit of sunshine. Where are you going? Are you going to Spain again? I'm curious. Canary Islands, I guess, is I think that's where you. Well, usually you go cruising, don't you? So I don't know if you're going cruising or if you're just going for a beach vacation. Howard says 7 p.m. So I'm going to say Howard's the closest, but still not correct. So I'll go ahead and shout out the answer. So I Googled it, and according to Mr. Google, and Mr. Google is always right, 8 p.m. 8 p.m. So if you're going for an early dinner, and I mean early dinner might still be 7 p.m., you're still saying buenas tardes. I don't know. I mean, I guess I would also sort of think sunset would be indicative of a good time to say good night or good evening. Who knew? And if you're watching this on the replay and you knew that answer, and if you know why, let me know, because this kind of blows my mind. Yeah. So who knew? Who knew? Yeah, well, Howard, have a great time on your trip, and John, you as well. Yeah, hopefully the weather's good and you get just some nice relaxing time. That'll be nice to get away. Google, Google must be hallucinating. Could be. I don't know. I'm going to test this theory out when I go to when I get to Cancun. Yeah, who knows? Yeah, I'm kind of surprised. Kind of surprised by that one for sure. Howard, if you were going to be in and around the Cancun area, let me know, because it would be neat to meet up and say, hey. I don't think we're going to be venturing out to Playa del Carmen or anything, because that's just too much. Canary Islands and Madeira on P&O is our, okay, so you are cruising. Yeah, good on ya. You're trying out the new Weatherspoon at Manchester Airport. I love Weatherspoon. I think I still have the app. I love it. Like, I don't know if that's going to be the same at Manchester Airport, but I remember sitting at Gatwick and we were waiting for our flight, and you just get a table, you sit down, and then you order your food and you order your drinks. And if you want more drinks, you just order more. So I was getting them to bring my Strongbow cider, and it was quite handy. My mother-in-law and my sister-in-law were drinking coffee, and yeah, it was very civilized, very handy. You're sitting there doing nothing, and then all of a sudden, oop, here you go. It's quite nice. Howard says wife is looking at flights for later in the winter. Around WestJet has returned. Oh, found WestJet has return flights for some weeks in March and April from Toronto for $40. Jeez, is that right? That's not 40. $410. Still, round trip for $410. That's cheap as chips. Oh, they're all the same. Okay, so that's handy. Yeah, so you download the Weatherspoons app, and then if you're in the UK and you're going to a Weatherspoons, whether it's somewhere within London or you're at the airport, yeah, you are seated by a server. So, well, I guess not a server, hostess, I guess. They put you at a table and you have your table number, and then you go onto the app and you can order your stuff. It's very convenient. I like it. All right. Well, I hope you all have a great rest of your day and a great weekend. John and Howard, have a great time on your vacations. And Angelo, I hope you are going to have a great time at Secrets Vallarta Bay. Let us know how that goes. And oh, 410 to Costa Rica. Wow. Yeah, that is cheap. Wow. Crazy. Yeah, Angelo, hope you have a great time at Secrets Vallarta Bay. And yeah, I'm curious to hear what you think about it. So let me know if you want to hook up and do an interview, and can share that with the group. And maybe you might be available next Wednesday to give us a little update on your trip and how it's going so far. So thanks for tuning in today, everybody. If you haven't already done so, please go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. And if you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe. Really helps out the channel. And we will see you again next Wednesday. day? Next Wednesday. Wednesday's the last one before I hit Cancun. So, yeah, we might do something different that day because that's my flying day. Might have to push it to the Thursday, and then I can go live from Ryukukokan. We'll see. We'll figure it out. Maybe we'll talk about that next week, see what you guys think. All right, thanks for tuning in, everybody, and hope you have a great day, and we'll see you next Wednesday. Bye for now.